to QI, where this week we'll be recycling some old rubbish as we're going green. Joining me tonight on our solar panel, we have the sustainable Bill Bailey, the recyclable Danny Baker, the impossible Jeremy Clarkson, vegetable Alan Davis. And in the interests of reducing our carbon footprint, we've switched off the electric buzzers. We've given our panel, yes, a selection of fully renewable wind and calorie-powered woodland whistles to attract my attention. Bill goes... Excellent, thank you. Very good, very good. And Danny goes...
Buttless.
Oh.
Thank you very much,
That's
everyone.
brilliant. Oh, that's pretty good. That's all right. Abandoned ship.
You'll get a constable in no time.
Yeah. And Alan goes... Of course. So stand by to offset your emissions as we venture into question one.
Yes.
Nice, easy starter. What colour was Frankenstein? Yes.
Green.
Oh! Frankenstein was a baron in a novel who was a scientist who made a monster.
Yes, I know.
Right.
And the monster's name?
The monster's name...
The monster's actual name in the book. He does have a name.
Go on, tell us.
Adam.
Adam, of course he's called Adam, because he's
It's
like
Adam.
the first man he's made. So, yes, what colour, obviously, was Frankenstein's monster?
Oh,
Yep.
green. Purple. No!
Well, I was going to say sort of grey colour, but that's because I only ever saw him in black and white.
No.
I don't really know what
She
colour it
didn't
was.
write a black and white book, except in the sense the print was black and the paper was white, but she used coloured words, and she did describe Mary Shelley, who wrote the novel, of course. It's in 1818.
Jaundice yellow.
Yellow is the answer. His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath.
Oh.
His hair was of a lustrous black and flowing, his teeth of a pearly whiteness.
When she says it's scarcely covered, does she mean there were gaps?
Yeah, because he was like a dead body had been brought back
Bits
to life.
of them.
So he was like,
Hang
yeah.
on.
Like the mummy. You remember when the mummy gets, in the movie, gets...
Bits come
Yeah.
off. Imhotep.
Imhotep. Imhotep.
Imhotep.
Imhotep. So, yeah, yellow skin, apparently. Amazing. The novel, Mary Shelley's novel, sold how many copies, do you think, when it came out?
1,200.
Million.
No, just 500. It wasn't considered a success. One thing made it a success. A few years after it was published. Theatre.
Oh.
People realised it would make really exciting theatre. And T.P. Crook played the monster, made him famous. He's the Boris Karloff of his day. And over the next 4 years, 14 separate productions in London, Bristol and various other cities took place. And then the book just took off and it became so famous that by the time cinema was invented, of course, it was one of the earliest subjects for cinema. It suited it very well. And then when colour cinema came out, for some reason he got a bit green in the face.
Around the gills.
But when the Incredible Hulk was created, what colour was he?
You see...
He was green when he was a Hulk. He was not originally.
Wasn't he a purpley colour?
No, he was grey, oddly enough. Stan Lee created it, and his monster wasn't green when he first appeared in '62. He was grey because he wanted him not to suggest any ethnicity, but green doesn't suggest ethnicity. Anyway.
Is it Japanese or Korean or something, the director of the movies? What's his name?
Oh, the Hulk movie?
Yeah. Ang
Lee.
Lee.
He
Yeah.
did all the movements. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
They CGI'd the Hulk in.
Yeah.
So every time he goes, he put on one of these suits with
Oh,
lots
like
of
Andy
points on it.
Serkis, yeah.
And then they had him doing lots of Hulk stuff.
Wow.
But he wasn't really very Hulk-like. He's about 5'4", quite narrow-hipped.
Yeah.
So when the Hulk leapt out the building, he kind of went, "Hey!" In fact, when the Hulk comes out, if you go, "I saw," it really, really works. And he jumps and he kind of goes, "Hey!"
In the first 3 Superman comics, he can't fly. How lame is that? He ran to his destination.
Did he?
Yeah. The first 3
Faster than
Superman.
Superman did.
Superman couldn't fly in the initial comics.
my
He became flying after a while when they realised this is a bit, him waiting for traffic lights to change is all a bit pedestrian. And he began flying after that.
Goodness.
Along with Beppo, the super dog, and the super horse, and is it at the stable?
Yes.
And Supertramp.
And super
Yeah,
tramp.
yeah.
Was it a cost? No, it couldn't have been a cost thing in the comic, could it?
No, because
It
only
didn't
one.
beaming, because it's Star Trek. They had to invent beaming because they couldn't afford to land the shuttle on the planet every week.
Oh, is that why they did it?
Yeah, because otherwise they'd had
Oh,
to
right.
have had the model going wobbling down on cotton and...
Sorry, Jamie. You're saying it's a model. What do you mean? You're saying it's not...
Oh dear.
Oh dear, Energize, isn't it?
You know,
That's
made
what
Star
it is.
Trek, Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy.
Well, it was her studio, Desilu.
Yeah, but even so.
And Mission Impossible, too.
And Mission Impossible, Lucille Ball met her husband on the set of RKO, and what a great story. 5 years later, they bought the studio,
Yeah.
chucked out the name RKO, called it Desilu, made Star Trek. Lucille Ball.
I Love Lucy.
Yeah, I Love
Invented,
Lucy.
and therefore invented teleporting. So Lucille Ball
Yes.
invented teleporting, as we've just discovered.
Yeah, well, Frankenstein's monster was, in fact, yellow in the book. Anyway, now, where is the best place to mine gold in the UK? Oh, who got there first? Hard to tell.
Underground.
Go on. What? Underground? You'd think, wouldn't you? You'd think it was underground.
Yeah.
But that's not the answer.
Probably at the dentist.
That was a very interesting thought.
Jimmy Savile's toilet.
That's where he keeps it, stuffed it under the rim.
Yes. You get from a ton of...
Toilet, now then, there's my rings. All his furniture's got drawers in it. Now, where do they put that thing? Where do they put that?
So jealous.
Sorry, Steve.
That's fine. For a ton of mineable ore,
Yeah.
you get 5 grams of gold.
Yeah.
Whereas a ton of what I'm thinking of will yield 150 grams.
Dead bodies.
No,
No.
mobile phones. Mobile phones, of which we throw away 1.5 million a year. And so much gold can be got from them that in Japan in particular, where there's not much natural resources of any particular kind, they have the sort of corner of the market in eco-recycling. And mobile phones is a big one. And they get it from sewage plants as well. What? Little tiny specks of it from industrial effluent. Gold used in so many processes and little bits of it waste, and it can be recovered.
Oh, great.
Isn't that amazing?
It is a terrific thing.
And from a ton of mobile phones, you may get 150 grams of gold, but how much copper?
300.
100 kilograms.
100 kilograms of copper. I raise you.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And 3 kilograms of silver.
Is there anything in a mobile phone that isn't a precious metal? Mine's mostly plastic.
I know, it seems that way, doesn't it? But inside, look at that. There's a lot going
little
on.
bit of a tiny
coltan as well.
little bit of fondant right in the middle.
Fondant, there is. Lovely fondant.
Just in the middle.
Isn't it supposed to be that if you've got all the gold in the world, it only forms a cube like the size of that screen?
It's a bit bigger than that. I believe it's 55 feet side to side.
All the gold ever mined. 50
Yeah, a
feet
cube
side
of
to side.
55 by 55 by 55.
Ever.
And coffee, of course, gold blend.
Yeah.
And you're not counting gold blend there.
Yes,
No.
I'm going to break the bad news to you later. In all of human history, the amount of gold that has been gotten out of the land amounts to 3.3 billion ounces. Just a heck of a lot.
Well,
But in the oceans, they reckon there's 25 billion ounces.
Ah.
8
Washed
times
away
more.
in
Just in the seawater.
Ugh.
It's like 10 parts per trillion.
disgusting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like
around.
something a Bond villain should be getting onto.
Yeah, it was, isn't it?
I am stealing the oceans, Mr. Bond. All of them, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I have the biggest sieve in the world.
Of the 1.5 million phones
Yes.
that are thrown away each year in the UK, most of them go to China, to a place called Guiyu, the largest electronic waste site on Earth. There are an estimated 150,000 e-waste workers.
Wow.
There they are, or some of them, earning an average of $1.50 a day. Which is like, what, $10.50 a week? If they work 7 days a week. And more than 80% of local children suffer from lead poisoning. So... It's nice to recycle, but that's clearly not the way to do it.
But they are very useful mobile phones, aren't they? That's what
Yes.
we mustn't forget.
They are.
So, this is obviously very
There is a-
bad, but
there's a price
there is an upside. You wouldn't know, you haven't got one. But,
No, I haven't.
But they are, I like mobile. He hasn't got a mobile telephone.
No.
Really?
No, it's extraordinary. People think it's some kind
you
of...
never had one?
I've never had one, no. I can't think of anything worse than being contactable all the time.
The easiest way is to have a mobile phone and no friends. That's what I do.
I find that very easy to believe. That just shows the price we pay, though.
We do.
It's pretty astonishing.
I've got no conscience about it, of course.
No,
Have you got a computer?
have I?
No, I know. Have you got...
yes,
you
of course.
email.
Oh, there's computers there. Look,
Yeah, there are lots of
Not
computers.
mine.
Look at that.
No, mine.
But now, cars, of course, is something you know a bit about. Catalytic converters, as you know, all new cars have to have them. What do they give the atmosphere?
Well, carbon dioxide in huge quantities.
They do that. They're not very green in that sense. But also, some people think they give off so much of this element that quite soon we may be able to harvest it from the roads. It's dust that comes out in the exhaust fumes because of catalytic... Platinum is the right answer, yeah. UK roads are now 100 times richer in platinum than they were before the catalytic converters. And if it continues to rise like this, people think it will be worth harvesting the platinum. And do you know how they would do that? It's really weird.
With a Hoover?
No, they use
Mice.
Oh, well, it is biological.
Yes.
Not mice, but much smaller.
Small
Insect.
Incy-wincy, even smaller.
Bacteria.
Bacteria is the right answer, yeah. E. coli.
Bacteria is the answer.
E. coli.
Yeah.
No, it's not the dangerous E. coli. It's perfectly reasonable. Yep, it refines the dust. This particular lady I'm about to tell you about was in the same business, there she is, as her mother and her grandfather before her. Now, what you have to do is stop me, all right, when you know what it is that they sold in their business. I'm going to give you some clues, all right? We all want more of it. Okay? Some of us keep it better than others. It's invisible. Yeah.
Time.
Yes, it's the right answer.
They invented time.
No, they sold it.
I was going to say, I think I remember what William Hartnell looked like, but it wasn't like that.
No, they sold it.
Oh, they sold it.
How would you sell time? How could you make a living selling...
What period?
They started in the 19th century and went all the way on up to 1940, 4 generations of the family.
Time shares. You get a flat in Malta for 2 weeks.
No.
Is this something to do with Bristol being 11 minutes behind
It's
London?
not exactly to do with that, but it's to do with the fact that in the 19th century it started to become more important to keep time. And there was only one clock, the Greenwich clock, that keeps official GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. And this woman would go with her pocket watch, which is a very fine pocket watch, and she would, once a week, put the time right, and then wander around London, and people would pay to have a look at her watch. And she made money giving people the time. Businessmen had a subscription to her
It
business.
sounds very, very much like a scam, some sort of a euphemism. And what is going on here? Hey, just looking at my watch, officer. In this dark alley.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
Stop her to look at her watch.
Yeah, her name was Ruth Belville.
A what?
It was a John Arnold pocket chronometer, number 485786. And they cornered the market in it from 1836 to 1940.
And there were only 3 of them ever did it. So
Well,
one person at a time.
yeah.
You'd be lucky if you could find them.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people could buy an annual subscription, and I guess they would go around and visit them in the same way that a sandwich company goes around to a
Like
to
an
a
alarm
firm
clock?
or they go around with the clock and say it's now exactly this, and the firm would settle their watches by it.
Where did they why did they decide on an hour? What was that? What was the Why an hour? Why not just, half an hour and make that an hour?
Because 24 is divisible in so many different ways.
It's very factorisable.
Divisible by 2 and 3 and 4 and 6 and 8.
10.
Exactly.
You could add 10.
No, 10 is only divisible by 1, 2, 5 in itself.
Only one...
That's why 24...
If you go into another dimension, you could have anything you want.
But unfortunately, we weren't in another dimension.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Forgive me, but why was it important to divide 24 by 8?
Yeah.
Well, no, to have as divisible a system as
Why
possible.
wouldn't it be 100? Why not have 100? Make it all up to 10.
If you want to do that, then
Can
you
I
can
make
have
it
a
up 10?
plan to decimalise time,
I'm
if you like.
changing it. In fact, I'm going to live my own. I might make my own.
Yeah.
I'm going to cross 2 of these off. The time
What do you want to do?
let's have a vote.
What should we
I'm going
vote
to get
off,
rid of
though? Read this
3,
number.
3 and 8.
Well, last night you joined the show.
No, you can't do 1 to 10 because then we'll never have 11s ever again.
So,
No, I'll leave it.
so look, can you just...
9s?
Ninesies.
So what is your system? How many hours are in your day?
20.
20 hours of
Nice and
daylight.
simple. We call it a hurrah.
Right. Okay, a hoor. A hoor? A hoor. Strumpets. The prize is a whore, I think.
20 strumpets.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, There are a number of objections, obviously, that I'm not the one to make them. It originally was 12 hours because the Babylonians were the first really to
what do
come
they
to
know?
it. Well, right. But they had a base 12 counting system.
Yes.
The French did try decimal time after their revolution.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did they?
Ah, do you see?
Yeah, it didn't work.
Why did it not
I don't
work?
know. It maybe just didn't work because the rest of the world just cocked a snooker them and didn't like the
Is
idea.
it not like Betamax and VHS? They all went with 24, but
Maybe.
the French should have gone with 20, and nobody...
Well, the French...
When has the French ever worried about what the rest of the world thought?
Oh, absolutely.
But we have 10 fingers
Yeah.
and 10 toes, and then you could count off the bits, the sections of time by each
still
one
have
of
to
your digits,
tell the
couldn't you?
time. What time is it?
About
What is it? 1, 2, 3.5.
2 minutes past 4. What
Yeah.
would that be then? About 6.
About 6, yeah.
Well, good luck. That could be an interesting line in merchandisable metric clocks.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the Bill Bailey QI metric clock.
Metric clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, that'll do me.
Anyway, we've just done an hour on that topic.
Yeah,
By whose system?
I think you'll find it's an hour and a bit.
that can only mean one thing. Time to move on.
Yes.
The Belvilles gave people a good time by selling them a look at their watch, and the Belvilles never went to this place, but what time is it at the South Pole? It's still on time.
It's no time at all, isn't that
It's
right?
every time.
It's every time,
Oh.
it's no time. Oh,
It's the Penguin Public Enemy Tribute Band.
Yeah, because all the time zones, obviously, which are like that way, meet at the South Pole, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And it's not true about the compass. That's the most... You know, it's the magnetic North Pole. Well, you don't know, nobody knows quite where it is, but I wanted the compass to do that thing where it can't find south or anywhere, and it doesn't.
Oh, how boring.
Oh.
Yeah.
It is boring, that.
Is there a red and white striped barber pole sticking out?
No, there's nothing, nor a shaft of light. There's nothing. No, but I haven't been to the South Pole, so maybe it works
South Pole's
there.
a lot chillier, of course, but it's always noon or always midnight, really.
Yeah. And why do you have to have north, south, east, west?
Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, he's drunk with power. All the time zones converge at the poles, but the default time in Antarctica is GMT, is the one they use there.
Oh.
But now, it's time to eat up your greens now. This is very important. According to the Vegetarian Society, why are people who don't eat meat called vegetarians?
So we can identify them as fools and madmen. I don't know.
What does the word come from?
Well, presumably it's
they-
the word vegetable. Well, they do.
That's not why they're called vegetarians.
What? When people who only eat vegetables?
Yeah, that's not why they're called it. Yeah?
Is it a star sign?
Well, no, it's
Sagittarius.
Say that again.
Sagittarius.
Thank you. Very good.
It's my favourite starter.
Very good.
Are they named after dinosaurs? No, they're
No.
not.
Herbivores. Something Aryan is a
Herbivores.
kind of an enthusiast or a practicer of veggie.
I know why.
Well, you'd think that was to do... Yeah.
It's because if you said you had a herbivore coming round for dinner, the children would be frightened. So they've called themselves vegetarians to make themselves seem normal and not pallid.
I know what you mean, but the surprising point, perhaps to most people, is that the original word from which vegetarian comes, in the opinion of the Vegetarian Society, is not the word vegetable. That's the point. It's
Because
nothing-
vegetable is...
It's nothing to do with vegetable.
No,
Right.
we're talking about the root word, are we?
The fruit word, oddly enough.
Vegetalis.
Yeah. It's really bizarre, I grant you. It is the word vegetus, which is nothing to do with vegetation, oddly enough. It's a Latin word meaning whole, sound, fresh or lively.
Of course, I don't call them vegetable. I had a totally different system of names.
The official UK Vegetarian Society, the VS UK, which is the oldest vegetarian society in the world, they say that's the origin of it, the word vegetus, not the word vegetable. So name some famous vegetarians for me.
Well,
Hitler.
Oh, dear.
there you go.
He wasn't, everyone thinks he was, but he wasn't.
He is in my mind.
Oh, right.
Napoleon. Not Derby.
I don't think so.
My tortoise died the other day, and I honestly considered having its leg on some toast.
Really?
And I just thought, I don't know how it tastes like. Do you know, you obviously don't think like that.
No.
I know. It's the same, isn't it? We had a tortoise once, and it had a very, very bad arthritis in its leg, and they said we can actually operate and replace it with a wheel.
They
They do that, don't they?
Yeah. Actually, casters, so they can go in all directions.
Oh, did you do that?
We thought about taking all his legs off and just putting wheels on all of them.
Yeah, that would have been wrong.
And then a little engine on the shelf. Aerial. Sending down the shops for a
Oh, yes, an aerial on a spring.
Well, you could put some peanuts on it, cartons.
I bet you couldn't do that. I bet you someone would object if you
think?
motorised a tortoise.
The RSPCA first.
Because you can have lorries like
Political correctness gone mad, John. Can't even mutilate a tortoise
I'm
anymore.
not suggesting you mutilate it.
You know who would
You
object?
had a tortoise.
Vegetarians would object.
It could keep its legs. I'm thinking of some like a Bigfoot truck in America. With big wheels that could be detached so that it could be a tortoise and run around and eat weeds. And then,
Its legs
and
go
then
up.
you could, when you wanted to go shopping, you could just send it off to the shop.
A transformer tortoise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's great big ones in the Galapagos Islands.
Oh, they're
They
terrific.
could bring quite big, substantial pieces of furniture back for you.
They are.
Put wings on them and they could take off.
You could, yeah. You could get those wheels. You
Tortoise's
just...
tongue.
Anyway, that's good. Good talk. Mad, but good. And the Vegetarian Society claims that the word vegetarian comes from vegetus. Everyone else thinks it's because they eat vegetables. But why are vegans called vegans? Or vegans, if you prefer.
From the planet Vegas?
Ah, well, that seems to be the suggestion.
Oh, okay.
From the root vague.
Vague.
No, what do you eat?
They're probably the least vague eaters there are, though, aren't they? They're very specific.
Vegans
Well,
are
vegans
allowed
are
what?
different from vegetarians.
Well, they are.
How?
Well, vegans don't eat eggs or cheese or anything like that.
Dairy. It's dairy, isn't it? And
Or anything dairy. Anything from an animal, yeah.
anything from...
Oh, look at Peter Tatchell at the end there. There's the advert.
I'm afraid he's not much of an... These
isn't.
are vegans. Can you recognise them?
Tom
Bob
York,
Marley.
isn't it?
Tom York from...
That's not Bob
Pamela
Marley. What are you
Anderson.
talking
No,
about?
it's Benjamin Zephaniah, the
Yes,
poet.
yes.
Benjamin Zephaniah.
On the left, the pneumatic lady,
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson.
She a
yeah.
vegan?
She's
I've got
a
her
vegan
right.
or vegan, yes. And Peter Tatchell, yeah.
Are they all vegans?
Vegans, yeah.
They're
But
not a healthy
her
looking
breasts are
bunch,
made
are they?
of plant matter.
Yeah.
Well, otherwise you can't feed your
It's
children.
stuffed with pulses and beans.
How do you know that?
Pulses.
Well, they must be. She's a vegan. You possibly can't be made out of leather, can they?
I don't think they actually remove their own flesh from their body and replace it with plant material. I think they're allowed to have their own flesh.
You could add a couple of cow's udders strapped on them.
But anyway, how did the word arise? How did it arise? What's it from? What's its
Is it
origin?
an anagram or something? Is it a mnemonic of some sort?
Not a mnemonic. No. It's actually the first three letters of vegetarian and the last two of vegetarian. Because it's the beginning and end of vegetarian is vegan. Vegan.
If vegans knew that, they'd stop calling each other vegan.
Well,
Mark
it's-
Bolan did that, of course.
His-
With Bob Dylan's name.
Yes.
Mark
yes, he
Bolan.
did. Yep.
got Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Just cut it up.
Yeah.
And he was a
Yeah.
vegetarian.
Was he?
Yes, he was. He took cocaine, but he was a vegetarian.
Which comes from a vegetable.
Yes, it does.
Comes from a leaf, I suppose.
and he's normal, so there.
That was the worst ever time that a hero's death was broken to me. My dad told me I was a huge T-Rex fan, massive T-Rex fan. And the night he died, tragically over in Barnes, I went to bed early and I was woken up the next morning by my dad, who didn't have a lot of time for your pop stars and stuff, but equally he was a fairly, straightforward fella. I don't think he knew how much he hurt me when he came in my cup of tea the next morning to get me up. Here's your tea. Oh, what? Who's that bloke you like? Who? The one with the stars on his face. Mark Bolan? Yeah, gone, dead. That was how I heard
That's awful, isn't
of the
it?
passing of Mark Bolan.
It's like how my neighbour broke the news of our cat dying to me. It was so insensitive. He was trying to be friendly, and he said, I think, he goes, you got your cat one with the coloured collar? I went, yeah. He goes, oh, I think it's dead. I think it got hit by a car. I went, oh, well, why do you think that? And he goes, well, it's completely flat.
All right, good, well done. So he was woodwork teacher Donald Watson, who coined the word vegan in 1944. Now, all four of you are, obviously, babe magnets. But what's a cow magnet?
Bull with a big horn? Sorry.
Very good.
It's a gift.
A hedge.
A hedge.
A hedge, yeah. Cows, they gravitate towards the hedges.
I've got a friend who's afraid of cows.
Yeah, a lot of people are, quite
He's
right.
really afraid of them.
Yeah.
He said to me they can rear up. I said, what are you talking about, rear up? They can't rear up. And I said, you've been ridiculous.
No.
He goes rambling. He says, there's no attacks
I've never
of cows
seen a
on
cow
people. He's
rear
afraid of
up.
horses as
I've
well.
seen a bull rear up
Then
on a
one
cow.
day, I saw him, he said, I've got something to show you. And he got a clipping out of the Metro, the free paper. And a man had been attacked by cows, knocked over and assaulted by them. And he was an off-duty policeman, and he'd phoned up a police helicopter to rescue him. And they sent it straight out and landed in the field, scared them all off. And he was lying there. He had broken bones and ribs. He was in terrible pain.
They gang up on you, there's no doubt about it. It's happened to me in the field, funnily enough, in Norfolk.
Were you being herded by cows?
They tried to mount my Land Rover.
Hunted?
They tried to... I've got a black Land Rover, and there was about 50 or 60 around, and they were all over the car. I thought the top was going to come, and it was terrifying.
You're thinking of lions?
No, I'm thinking of cows. I'm thinking of cows, Bill. And these cows surrounded the car, and I tried everything. When I say I tried everything, sounding the hooter, I put on show tunes and opened the sunroof.
A Londoner tries to clear some cows.
He's saying that
chewing straw in it. He's going to put some music on in a minute.
Defying gravity from
heavy
Wicked.
metal. Let's see what this one's trying.
It was defying gravity from Wicked.
No, they respond to Galvanised by the Chemical Brothers. That's what you should have played.
Well, whatever it was, I couldn't do it. And in the end, you know, my wife quite rightly said, get out of the car. I said, I can't. The cows won't let me.
I know the answer. Danny Baker is a cow magnet.
Very good. I can't deny it.
Well, the Land Rover.
But here is a real cow magnet. Have a look. Pass it on to Jeremy, pass it back. Everyone can have a look. How would that work? That is a cow magnet. Made in Denmark.
It's just a magnet.
It basically is a magnet, but this happens to be a cow magnet.
Green magnet.
Is it the cows with the bells around their neck?
Is this something to do with the fact it's made in Denmark?
Not particularly, I don't think, no.
Is it a cow as we know it, or is it a cow...
No, it's a real cow. Bill,
That was weird.
we'll have to call you Buffalo Bill. Bovine Buffalo Bill. No, this goes inside the cow.
That goes in the cow?
Yeah, not the way you're thinking. Not the way you're thinking, no.
Is it? Is it? When you want the cow to come to the milking shed, if you just turn on the magnet in the milking shed and that's in it, it'll come.
That's
What about the abattoir?
Not the abattoir. No, it is simply that a cow in the course of its daily grazings will often pick up bits of metal in fields. There are things like the bits of wire in tyres that are used to weigh down the tarpaulins on the silage pits, bits of barbed wire, things like that.
Gold.
And they can cause inflammations in the stomach, bits of gold. And so a magnet is put into their stomach, and it attracts all the metal that they eat, and then eventually the gastric juices in their stomach will cause that metal to dissolve. Funny enough, Bill mentioned at the very beginning, you said something about they're all being attracted towards hedges, but someone thought, I wonder if cows actually have a sense of magnetism themselves. And they thought, how can we tell if cows face one particular way or if they're aware of it? And he used that old standby, Google Earth. This was an academic from a German university, and he studied 8,510 cows, and he found they tended to face north or south, a fact that's eluded mankind for thousands of years. That only something like Google Earth would allow you to see that. They're all looking that way.
Only when the satellite was flying over.
Well, yeah, true, but over quite a large patch of Earth.
What do you think
I guess
they're
they
looking at?
factored that in.
Huh?
Who knows? What were they looking at?
The satellite passing
Up
over.
one way, or the other, though. North or south.
Oh,
but not east or west, not north-east or north-west.
Or Narth or Sweth.
New ones. Yeah. Anyway, let's press on. We should.
Yes.
Cow magnets sit inside cow stomachs to attract stray bits of metal they've picked up while grazing. All right, let's be brutally honest. What do you think the Green Revolution has achieved?
There are many things.
They've done wonders for those expensive light bulb business.
Yeah. Well, of course, it depends what you mean by the Green Revolution. You're probably just thinking of the general fact that people are trying to be eco-friendly these days, but there was something that was called the Green Revolution.
Is it in Africa?
Well, no,
Asia?
all over the world, actually. There's a man you probably haven't heard of. I have to confess, his name didn't trip off my tongue, Norman Borlaug. Probably because he's never been on Britain's Got Talent or something, so one wouldn't have heard of him. But he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, and in the citation, it was said, Dr. Borlaug has saved more lives than any other person who has ever lived.
Oh.
Is he doing
Probably
something
a
about the
billion
taxi
people.
flight
So
or
more
something
than
like that?
Fleming.
I was gonna say.
A billion
He
people,
saved a billion.
They think a billion people are alive because
Clean
of him.
water, something like that?
No, a new type of wheat. It simply tripled India's supply of wheat. India suddenly, in a short time, 10, 15, 20 years, became capable of sustaining itself. Do you remember, certainly when I was young, enormous starvation in India and Bangladesh? And
That's
of course,
why you weren't allowed to not finish your tea.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was forever posting my mashed potato I hadn't eaten off to Biafra.
Yeah.
Because
They
the
can have
parents
it
would always
when
say Biafrans could eat that, and I'd think, yeah, they're right, they're absolutely right, I don't want it, and I was only little, so I'd post it off.
Yeah.
So he invented a type of wheat which has saved 1 million lives, or means that a billion people are still alive now that wouldn't otherwise...
I think it's, 1 billion people are alive who would otherwise not be, and
is it a
would have
strain
died of
wheat?
starvation. It's hardier and higher yielding, basically. What this achieved was christened the Green Revolution, and of course there are downsides. It's a monoculture, as you might say, this wheat. It's spread everywhere. Although enormous numbers of lives have been saved, it has been a big threat to biodiversity, obviously. And the reliance on pesticides and things is not all good. But it is pretty astonishing, isn't it?
But how do you get wheat to mate?
Pollination?
See, I've never... Yes, well, how does that happen?
You turn down the lights.
Well, it'd be...
You asked the barley to leave the room.
And it
lights
gets
in the
its oats. Yeah. But anyway, Dr. Norman Borlaug is the father of the Green Revolution. May have saved as many as 1 billion lives, but has never been on Celebrity Big Brother, so we've no idea who he is. But from little green shoots to little green men, gentlemen. Imagine you've just received a signal from outer space. What's the first thing to do?
Phone Sky News immediately so they can get a camera crew round
No,
where it was
that's
received.
not the first
No?
thing to do.
Don't tell anyone, keep it to yourself.
There is SETI. Have you heard of SETI?
Search
Yes,
for
sir.
extraterrestrial intelligence.
Very good. Points for Bill.
How do you think we found him?
Indeed. SETI,
Here's our finest example.
You never will get a message from outer space, is that the answer?
No. It's that
Why,
there is a...
why shouldn't you phone Sky News and
Well,
tell
I'll
them to
tell
send
you.
a crew round?
No, because there's a declaration of principles concerning activities following the detection of extraterrestrial intelligence that SETI have put out. First thing I said, check it's real. Important. Important. 2, tell all the signatories to the declaration and your national authorities. Not the press.
Oh, right.
You then tell astronomers online or via the Central Bureau of something or other, and then the discoverer, that's you, has the privilege of making the first public announcement. But that's the 4th step.
Oh, OK.
By the time I'm about to make the announcement, the authorities that I've previously contacted have put me in a dark basement somewhere under MI6 building for life.
Probing whatever they do, yeah.
This gentleman's from America. What exactly did you hear, sir?
There are reply protocols as well. That's to say, if you get the message, how do you reply? No one should reply before checking with everyone else first, is the first one.
You reply saying, fine, thanks.
The United Nations should finally decide if we reply. We should reply on behalf of all humanity, not one country or corporation or company.
OK.
The message should be published before transmission. Plans should be put in place to create an institution to manage the conversation, as replies might be a long time in coming, centuries or millennia.
And somebody recommends the alien contact Max Clifford.
It's such a very, very long way to the nearest place that it's...
Well, that's the point. It's
You could spend really as long as you liked planning all this. There's no need to rush.
Yeah.
Who's made these rules anyway?
SETI, the search for extraterrestrial.
They've got plenty of time on their hands, let's be honest.
What we know from cinema is that there's a kind of beardy, techie guy sort of doing this in the place where there's the computer screen and the stuff, and he's like that, and he's usually got a takeaway coffee or a donut, and suddenly something goes, and he goes like that, and he starts, oh my god, he goes like this, I got it, like that, and then the film starts, and it's
And then
like
he gets up and
whichever
turns on his
movie
own
it is.
indoor golf set.
Yeah, exactly.
Blows the dust off his telephone and calls the authorities.
Exactly, and he calls.
Well, it's
beardy.
Nothing wrong with him being a beard. Take it up with Hollywood casting.
Would
It's
the
lovely that
Americans
he's beardy.
call the Bangladeshis if they heard it there? Because that says, if Alan hears it when he's going shopping one day, he's got to call SETI in New Mexico. But I bet
No, it says check it's real, tell the signatories to the declaration.
Let's just assume for a moment Bangladesh is one of the six. I bet you any money the Americans wouldn't call up the Bangladeshis and say, we've just heard from outer space. They wouldn't.
No,
they deal with it all by themselves.
You know. Why was Lord Hardwicke's Marriage Act so good for the Scottish tourist industry?
Lord House.
Something to do with kilts?
Gretna Green? Something to do with Gretna Green.
Japanese
Green
kilts.
is our word. Gretna Green, yes.
Yeah.
What's Gretna Green? Where's Gretna Green?
It's just inside
Where
Scotland.
you elope to get married.
It's where people
over
elope
the
to.
It's
border
just
from
over
England.
the border.
Yeah, but the point is, up until 1753, in Britain, you didn't need your parents' permission to get married. There were only 3 conditions that had to be satisfied to get married. You couldn't already be married, obviously. The girl had to be 12 or over. The boy had to be 14 or over. They mustn't be brother and sister. And that was it. You didn't even have to have witnesses.
Oh.
You just get married. But after 1753, because of inheritance and various legal wrangles and things that happened because it was so hard to prove people were married, the Hardwicke Act came in. But it didn't apply in Scotland. So young couples would elope, and the nearest place on the main road to Edinburgh, on the border, was Gretna Green. And in Gretna Green, as in England before this, you didn't have to be a priest, you didn't have to be a mayor or anything like that. And these blacksmiths, they were called anvil marriages, anvil weddings, these blacksmiths would perform it, thousands of them. But 5,000 weddings a year are performed in Gretna Green still, so still people think it romantic or whatever to go to.
Knock up a couple of rings while they're doing it.
It's not...
Yeah. So, continuing our green theme now...
Why are you wasting electricity?
I'm sorry?
Why do you have 2 screens on?
Yeah.
Why don't you
true,
turn
actually.
that one off? And then Bill could come and sit next to me
Brilliant.
on my knee, which is what I've been hoping would happen all day. You on for that? Go on. Come on, Bill.
I've got to come round here then.
What is it with you now?
Yeah, go on, move it up there. There you go.
I'm still far away from him.
That's what always happens when you go to a restaurant and you want to sit next to someone, they end up at the other end of the table.
You can gaze at him across.
Yeah. I love you. Pass it on.
I love food, pass it on.
Okay. You do kung fu, pass it on.
Send 3 and 4pence for going to a dance.
Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Excellent work. Well, this is rather good. You're right, we're saving
power.
Yeah, that whole screen now is
Exactly.
dark. Very, very pleased. Good thought.
And we could dim the
and people
lights
say
as well.
that you're an enemy of environmentalism. Rubbish. They don't understand.
No idea.
We could take this further. You people at home, turn off your set.
All right. OK, let's have a musical clue for this next question.
Bridge on the River Kwai.
Yes, Colonel Bogey's March. Why, the question is, why did Colonel Bogey go 1 over par in 1925?
Well, a bogey is 1 over par.
Well,
In-
that's
in golf.
The extraordinary thing was, in Britain, when you played golf, the way you set your par was you imagined a perfect player that you were playing against who got an exactly perfect score without sort of dropping any shots.
Can I have
and he
Sidney
was
Crawford?
called Mr. Bogey. So that meant par, not 1 over par. It meant par, bizarrely. And in the United Services Golf Club, they thought we can't have a Mr. Bogey that you play against, so they called him Colonel Bogey. So you imagined you were playing against Colonel Bogey, and so you say, well, Colonel Bogey gets 4 on this particular hole, and I got 5, so you're 1 over. But if you got 4 as well, that was bogey, it was par. But America, which had newer courses, because they'd only taken to the game more lately, they used the word par, and when they played on British ones, they found ours were easier, as it were, so that if they made a British one, it was 1 over was bogey. It's kind of
Easier here?
complicated. Yeah.
I literally have no idea what you're
No,
saying.
don't worry about it. I know it sounds complicated.
In America, they played it on large courses, 18 holes. Over here, you had to get it past the windmill. You had to get it...
But essentially, bogey meant par until we joined in with the Americans in 1925, and then we agreed to use bogey to mean 1 over. That's all. All of which brings us rolling off the green and into the bunker of general ignorance. So, have you got your instruments still? All of you on my left? You're on a tropical beach, OK? You've got a screwdriver in one hand, rusty nail in the other, and a cloud of huge male mosquitoes descends on you. What are they after? Yes, Bill.
Your drinks, I was going to say.
Ah,
Sugar.
ah.
Sugar?
They're not after anything. Only females bite you.
Yeah, that is true.
That's
That is
true.
a fact. That is correct. So they're not after your blood, is right.
They're after the
They're
sugar
after
in the... No.
orange juice.
Orange juice.
In the screwdriver.
Yes.
Points!
Yes. Orange juice is... The males sip juice. They don't use blood at all.
No, right.
The blood is only for the female when they're in egg. It helps their eggs develop. Yeah, female mosquitoes actually are attracted by moisture, lactic acid, carbon dioxide, body heat and movement. But the cocktails, what's a Manhattan?
Red Bull and eggnog.
Oh, dear, yeah. I want that. No, it's a whiskey, vermouth and bitters. Cuba Libre?
Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre?
Oh, that's rum and coke.
Rum and Coca-Cola,
That will make you pregnant.
Daiquiri?
Daiquiri.
Go to the bar where it was invented,
Where? What?
Floridita in Havana.
Oh, right, very good, yeah.
I can't remember for the life of me what's in it, but I can
Rum's
tell
in
you
it.
it's fantastic, and I could play the piano, I thought, afterwards.
Very good. Rum, lime,
It wasn't
juice
even a
and sugar.
piano, it was a table.
Margarita.
Margarita.
Salt.
Yeah.
Salt round the
Gin.
edge. Yeah.
Very unfair to taunt us with these drinks. Well,
So-
not as much as a glass.
Good, that's probably enough. Good.
Do any of us actually drink cocktails? I mean, does anyone outside
Yes,
of
do you know,
Ken
I've
know?
I've
Only at
recently had a
10:30
fortnight
or
of
2:30
solid.
in your time.
A banana
Yes.
daiquiri for breakfast is one of the greatest luxuries a man can have.
Sex on the beach?
Well,
Whoa!
all right.
Anyone know what's in Sex on the Beach?
No.
Sex on the beach.
Vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice and cranberry juice.
Oh, I like peach.
Oh, and a little bit of crab sweat.
Anyway,
Get
there you
things
are.
going.
The point is, it's the lady mosquitoes who bite you, the men folk just sip fruit juice and nectar. What harm can a wind turbine do?
Kills birds.
Yeah.
Kill birds.
He's working out a vent
The
Oh, dear.
Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds recently announced that they can't kill birds.
It was all wrong. Yes, I was.
Yeah, well, you
But-
spotted that. Good. So, but they do harm another flying creature.
Superman.
Bats.
Superman.
They,
No, no, no,
they
yeah,
do
just-
bats in
Bats.
trees
Do you know why?
and goats.
Goats that hang on to
A man, a man in Taiwan reported recently that he lost 400 goats because they could no longer sleep. Because have you ever heard one?
They
Not
couldn't
one of those.
sleep.
They make an unbelievable
Is that why they attract
ruckus.
bats? Because the
No, they don't get hit by the blades. It's the drop in pressure that is caused like that. They have, as mammals, rather like humans, rather soft lungs, unlike birds, which have harder lungs. And the capillaries burst in their lungs and they die. Yeah, just by
There
the
are other
pressure
issues
change
as well.
near the turbines. It's quite nasty. Which brings us to the schools.
Oh, my God.
Oh my heavens.
Really?
Well, yes, now look at this. Oh, dear me, Lord. Oh, in first place, with -5, is Bill Bailey. So close. So close. Done really, really well. With -7 is Alan Davis. The man who usually soars into the lead on our show and usually gets enormous numbers of points is only in third place with -13, Danny Baker. But I'm sorry to say, way off the pace with -27, Jeremy Clarkson. That's all from this edition of EcoQI, a special one-screen edition for your pleasure and entertainment. So it's good night from Danny, Jeremy, Bill, Alan and me. I leave you with this thought from an American comedian called A. Whitney Brown. I'm not a vegetarian because I love animals, he said. I'm a vegetarian because I hate plants. Good night.
And the good news is there's good news. We've got Russell Howard's good news, new today, Thursday night at 9. No ads now, just more QIXL in moments.